What's going on, everybody? We're back here with another tier list. Like I said in my first video, I know these are kind of getting to that point where they're played out, but as I'm starting this new sports channel, I just feel like this is a good way to kick it off. Do some tier lists. A lot of people enjoy them. A lot of people enjoyed the quarterback one and wanted me to do more positions. So today we're going to do running backs. Now this tier list is ranking all 32 starting running backs going into 2019. So keep that in mind. This is going into this season, what we think they're going to be. But still heavily based off what we might have seen the last year or two out of these guys, right? Some of these older guys are going to fall lower on the list because they're not as good as they used to be. So don't get offended. You might get a little offended because that's how some people are when it comes to their favorite running back. But let's get into it. So starting out, we got Kerryon Johnson. I'm going to put him in good. I think we definitely need to see more of him. What we saw last year from him, really good. Best Lions running back in quite some time. Very good running back. I think he is definitely a guy that looks like he could be a stud. We definitely need to see some more out of him. Saquon Barkley. This is very tricky because I really want to put him in elite so bad. But I'm going to put him and say he's like the leader of the great tier. And the reason is we've only seen him for one season. Obviously, rookie of the year, phenomenal last year, especially in that offense. Terrible offensive line. Eli Manning wasn't much of a threat to do much with the ball, despite, having weapons like Odell and Sterling Shepard. But Saquon Barkley all around, just a great running back last year. I do think he's an elite talent, but I don't feel like we can call anybody elite after just one season. Yes, I know that sounds a little hypocritical because in the QB video, I did put Patrick Mahomes elite, but what he did last year was just, we've never seen anything like that. It's very quite clear that he is a very special case of a player, and you can make exceptions for that, and you could argue that Barkley is another one of those, special cases, but I'm going to put him in great. Giants fans, don't get mad. Halfway through this year, if he continues what he did last year, easily elite running back. Just want to see more, that's all. LeSean McCoy, at this point of his career, is average, not what he used to be. Obviously, he had a stretch where he was a top 3 running back in the league. Very good in the pass and run game. One of the better running backs we've seen in the last decade. But as of right now, he is declining. He's getting older. It just is what it is. He's an average running back right now. Not someone you would hate to have on your team, but he's not elite. He's not great anymore. Maybe in the right situation he could be good, but I'm putting him at average. Same thing here with Lamar Miller. He's an average running back. Feel like he never really reached his potential that people thought he would reach. I think he was projected to be a little bit better than he has been, but he's average. He's not, again, a guy you wouldn't hate to have him on your team, but there's way better running backs. They're just way better running backs than Lamar Miller. Not terrible, but he's just average. Now, McCaffrey's interesting because I want to say McCaffrey's great, but I also want to say he's elite too. You know what? I'm gonna put him elite, but I'll tell you why later when I get to other rankings on this list, because I don't want to spoil anything yet. But I have to put him elite for one reason. Obviously, he's really great. His first 2 years in the league have been phenomenal. He is the Panthers' offense in the run game, in the pass game. I mean, he just can do it all. He's such a great route runner. Such great hands. He's such a matchup problem. I think it's fair to call him an elite running back at this point. Melvin Gordon, I really hate this, but I'm going to put him in great. I think the general consensus is Melvin Gordon is obviously a great running back, but he's always considered kind of just below, the big elite guys that we all know. The guys that we all agree are elite, which we'll get to later in this video. Melvin Gordon's always, the consensus is always that he's just a notch below those guys, and I love Melvin Gordon. He might honestly be my favorite running back outside of my favorite team. I love Melvin Gordon. Fantasy stud. I draft him every year in fantasy if I can get my hands on him in multiple leagues. Great in the pass game. Good nose for the end zone. He's just a notch below those other guys. He really is. But he's great. He's so great. Don't take that as a slight, Chargers fans. Melvin Gordon is phenomenal. But he's just kind of always just been considered just slightly below those other guys. Jerick McKinnon. We have to put him in average because he's just simply never healthy. What we've seen from him, the little bit that he's been healthy, he looks like a really good running back. He looks like a really great talent, but we need to see a full season of him, and we might not ever see him in that role where he's really carrying that load for a team. The Niners are probably going to be a running back by committee type team. But we just haven't seen enough of him healthy to really put him anything above average, and that's just fair. Adrian Peterson, at this point of his career, you have to put him. He's an average running back. Now he just came off of a good season. Don't get me wrong. His season last year with the Redskins was good. His season before that, where he was with the Saints and then the Cardinals, that season was just okay. It wasn't nothing special. But last year with the Redskins was good. But he's older now. He's lost a step. He's arguably, I would say, he's easily probably a top 5 running back of all time. But he's just older now. He's not the same guy anymore. He's probably not going to be the main guy there in Washington now that Darius Geis is back. Second year, rookie year, he couldn't play because he got hurt. And then you still have Chris Thompson there. So I think, Peterson's not going to be in a huge role this year. I don't think. He's an average guy. David Johnson, he's a really great talent. He was elite. He definitely was elite. Last year, it's just hard to put him elite after he had such a down year. And I understand that the Cardinals was just a dumpster fire of an offense, terrible coaching, terrible offensive coordinator, rookie quarterback, not really too many weapons in the pass game. Fitz is getting old. It was hard for him to really produce good last year, but you can't put someone elite after they come off of a down year, because you have to look at Saquon Barkley and say he was dealing with an offense that was pretty much just as bad. Play calling that was just as bad. Terrible offensive line. They do have Odell as a weapon, but with Eli being so limited, it didn't really matter that much. And he put up, way better numbers than David Johnson. So I can't put David Johnson elite based off of last year, but he can easily jump back up into that elite tier. If that Cardinals offense gets together and David Johnson bounces back, he is an elite talent, but right now we have to put him in the great category. Phillip Lindsay, it's like you want to put him great after his rookie year, but I'm going to put him good. I mean, obviously not as good of a year as Barkley. Now, for a point of the year, he was like right there with Barkley. Like for a good bit of the year, I think that you could have made the case that Lindsay could have been rookie of the year up until like week 10-ish, 11. At the end, Barkley definitely pulled away. Phillip Lindsay, I think, will move up into the great category. If he does what he did last year again this year, I would put him in the great category. He was phenomenal. Probably the biggest surprise of last year, honestly. But we're going to put him in good for now, because with the rookies, you do want to see at least consistency. You want to see more than 1 year. We've seen a lot of guys come in first year, be great, and then just fall off a cliff. So he's a good running back with the potential to jump up into the great. Jordan Howard is going to be decent at best. Now, Eagles fans aren't going to like that. You have to actually watch the games, right? Because for a lot of these guys, I would bet outside of Bears fans, a lot of people haven't watched Jordan Howard play a lot of games. You might catch 1 or 2 Bears games a year that might be on prime time. If you just look at his box score, you look at his yards, rookie year was pretty good. Over 5 yards a carry. I think did he lead the league in rushing, or he was close to it. He was great his rookie year, right? But it's like his second and third year, you watch him, you can see the faults in his game. He doesn't really do anything for you in the pass game. Not good at catching the ball. He's a pretty good downfield runner, but he's not a great downfield runner. If you ask Bears fans, because if you're an Eagles fan, you're thinking like, okay, this is the best running back we've had in a while. How could you say he's just decent at best? And that's true, but ask Bears fans. Bears fans will tell you about Jordan Howard. He's not as good as the stats say, and his yards per carry the last 2 years have not been good. He doesn't do nothing for you in the pass game. He really is decent at best. You have to watch the film to truly know. You can't just look at his box score. Zeke is clearly elite, one of the best rushers in the league. Led the league in rushing last year. Don't have to say much about Zeke. I mean, that's an elite guy, through and through. Been consistent every year he's been in the league. Aaron Jones is good. I love Aaron Jones. I want to see more of him. I don't think we didn't get to see as much of him as I would have liked. I would have liked to see him get more touches last year, because he's by far and away the best Packers running back we've seen in a long time. Not that the Packers have had really great running backs in a while, but he is by far the best. He's super talented, good hands, good runner, very athletic. He's a really good running back. He could easily jump up into this great category. We just need to see more, and we need him to have more touches. We need the Packers to understand how good of a weapon he truly is and feed him. He is a good running back. I really like him. Now, Fournette is tricky. I'm an LSU fan, so there's some bias there. I love Fournette, but I'm going to put him in average, and that's going to make people mad. But what you have to understand is there's a few things with him. Injury concerns. He has missed some, a decent amount of games his first 2 years. I think he's missed at least over 10 games in the first 2 years. He only played half the season last year. His yards per carry is absolutely terrible. Now, some of that is he sees a lot of stacked boxes, right? Blake Bortles was his QB. You're going to see a lot of stacked boxes, and he has busted some long runs. He can find the end zone at a pretty decent, rate, but his yards per carry are it's abysmal. Like, for his career, I think it's 3.7. That is bad. So you can't put him in good based off that. Some of that is his situation. I think with Foles there, you could see that box open up a little more. But guys like Zeke see stacked boxes. Guys like Barkley seeing stacked boxes, and they're producing way better than Fournette did. And Fournette's not really too much of a threat in the pass game either. So he's average. He's a great talent. He's even an elite level talent. But right now in the NFL, between injury concerns and yards per carry, you have to say he's average, if we're being fair. But I love Fournette, and I think he could easily jump into this great category, but he needs a couple seasons with, better than having 3.7, 3.8 yards per carry. Ronald Jones, I think, is trash. I mean, we've seen very limited of him, a little bit in the preseason, not much. Very little in the regular season, not much. There's probably a reason for that, because he's not very good. Didn't think the draft pick was good. I don't really project him being good in the league. That's just my opinion. Todd Gurley, I mean, he's clearly elite. He's been the best running back in the league the last 2 years, but honestly, I think going into this year, I think he's going to fall down to the great category, and I want to put him there, but I'm going to be fair, because what he did the last 2 years, he could have easily been the MVP either of those years. That's how good he was. But towards the end of the season, you saw that he really didn't touch the ball a whole lot. CJ Anderson, most games, was out touching him, even in the postseason, even in the Super Bowl, and they even just came out and said that he will likely never be in a feature role again. He's going to be splitting carries, because I guess it's something to do with his health. His knees aren't as good. He's had some pretty bad injuries in college and whatnot. He's kind of at a point where, even though it is early in his career, he's a little worn down, so he's not going to be a feature back anymore, but he is an elite back. He's a really good route runner, which I don't think he gets enough credit for. He's good at catching the ball. He's great at running the ball. He can run you over. He can fake you out. He is elite, but he might wind up jumping down into the great category, depending on how much he gets used going forward. Mark Ingram is a good running back. I'm a Saints fan. I've watched him his whole career. Started out very slow, but the last few years he's been very solid. Good yards per carry. Actually pretty good in the receiving game. Doesn't drop a lot of passes. He's good in the screen game. I think the Ravens got a good back with him and Lamar Jackson. That should work out well together. He's a good running back. I don't think he'll ever be great. He'll never be elite. He's just he's going to be a career, above average good running back, which is fine. Nick Chubb, we're going to put in good. I think he had a great rookie year. I wish they would have started giving him the ball more earlier on, instead of, letting Carlos Hyde get a lot of work. They should have really went with Chubb earlier on. I think Chubb will easily jump up into the great category. We just need to see him play a little more. We didn't see him play enough yet, but he is a super talent. Damien Williams is tough, right? Because I'm going to put him in average, right? Because this is why, right? Well, he's never had more than 50 carries in a season. He's been his first few years with the Dolphins, didn't touch the ball very much. Obviously, he started touching the ball with the Chiefs after the Kareem Hunt situation. His yards per carry were good last year, but he only had 50 carries. He found the end zone a decent amount for the time that he played. In the passing game, he did pretty well receiving the ball. I think he could easily jump up into the good, but we just need to see more of him. We out of his 5 years in the league, he just hasn't touched the ball that much. So, and it's very easy to shine in that Chiefs offense when you got Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, and your quarterback's Pat Mahomes. It's not hard to see why he had his best season last year, even though he only touched it 50 times. It was still far and away his best season. But we just need to see more of him. So average is being fair. Le'Veon Bell is elite. We don't need to say more than that. Obviously, he held out last year, but we've always seen him be elite. No reason to believe he still won't be elite. Marshawn Lynch is, I want to say, I kind of think he's trash at this point. At this point, he's just not good anymore. He was great in Seattle. Great. Phenomenal. But he's not good anymore. Yards per carry aren't very good. He's just not very good anymore. He's slow. We're just being honest here. He's not the same guy. Even his last year in Seattle, when he retired that first time, his last year in Seattle wasn't good. He's just not good anymore. And that's okay. He's had days where he was very good. James Conner, I'm going to put in good. Steelers fans might not like that. They might want him to be in great. He did have a really, really good first year. Again, I want to see more. He could easily jump up into the great, but I think good is fair right now. I would say he's, a guy that's, maybe you could say even he's very close to potentially being great. He's on that borderline. If he does another season like last year, he's a great running back. Fine. But let's see it again. He's definitely definitely good. He's promising. I kind of feel similar about Mixon. I think he can easily be great this year, but I want to see more. I'm going to put him another guy kind of ahead of the good. He is a super talent, good in the pass game, good runner. He did get banged up a little bit. Just want to see more of him again, but I think Mixon could easily jump up the grade. I think Mixon could even be elite. I think he has that type of talent, really good talent. Chris Carson is tough. He's really like teetering between average and good, but I'll put him in good. Chris Carson's a pretty good talent. We've seen 2 years of him be pretty consistent. He's not anything spectacular, but he's a solid player. He's good. I think good is a fair way to rate Chris Carson. Devontae Freeman, I'm going to say is a great running back, and I hate the Falcons, so I'm a Saints fan, so I hate the Falcons. But Devontae Freeman's good. Now, he has been a little bit banged up as of late, but we've seen him in the league long enough. We know what he is. We know what he can do. He's good, very good in the receiving game. He's a good runner. He's really shifty. I think he's a great running back. Maybe he's starting to maybe fall down into the good category this year. We'll see, but I think he is a great running back. Kenyon Drake, I think, is average at best. He's shown some flashes, but there's way better running backs than Kenyon Drake, if we're being honest. I think he's average. Marlon Mack is like between average and good, but I'm going to give him the nod and say, like he's like the end of good. I think he's a good talent. He obviously has a really good offensive line there now, which is very beneficial. But I like what I saw from him last year, and I'm really excited to see what he does this year. I think he's a good talent, but he could easily fall down into this average range. We'll just see what he does this year, but I'm going to give him a little bit of a nod there. Sony Michel, good based off his rookie year. Again, we need to see more. He could jump up, but we need to see more. Definitely was a bright spot for that Patriots offense last year. Dalvin Cook. Now, Vikings fans are going to get mad at this, but I have to put him in average, and it feels wrong. I do think he's at least good. He could potentially even be great, but he's just never on the field. He's never healthy. When we have seen him, he has been at worst case, he's been good when he's been healthy, but staying healthy is a big part of this thing, especially for a running back. You need to be on the field. So we just need to see him play at least somewhat close to a full season. I don't think his talent is average. I think his talent is great, at least, but he needs to stay on the field more, and I think that's fair. Now, Kamara, I think most would agree after the first 2 years, he is an elite talent, and this is why I put McCaffrey up here, because him and McCaffrey been in the league the same amount of years. And it's very much unanimous by most people that Kamara is an elite running back. But I feel like if you think Kamara's elite, I feel like you have to say that McCaffrey is too. Even though I think most people would take Kamara over McCaffrey, numbers-wise, I'm pretty sure they're close. Now, Kamara definitely had the better rookie season. Definitely. But McCaffrey had a better second year than Kamara, even though they both had good years. Now, yes, I think McCaffrey does touch the ball more. He is he is the Panthers offense, whereas, Kamara does split more carries, or he did, but he still was, outside of Michael Thomas, him and Michael Thomas were the offense, but McCaffrey literally, was the offense. He gets way more touches, so that's part of it. Kamara's yards per carry average is crazy. His catches so far in the league, just ridiculous. 32 touchdowns through his first 2 years. He is a talent, we haven't seen anything like him in a while. Just the type of talent he is, the package that he brings. So he's definitely elite, but I'm being fair and putting McCaffrey there with him because it just feels wrong to put Kamara there and not McCaffrey based on what McCaffrey has done as well. Derrick Henry is decent at best. I don't really think he's very good. That's just my opinion. I don't think he's particularly used in the right way either in Tennessee, so that is, not really his fault, but it is what it is. His production so far has been decent at best. And Tarik Cohen, I'm going to put good because he's not really a running back. He's not what you would consider a typical, he's not a lead running back for a team. He's a Swiss Army knife. He does it all. Not in the way that Kamara does, because Kamara, I think, actually could be a lead back. We've seen the yards per carry. He is bigger than he looks. He weighs, I think, the same amount as Mark Ingram almost. I'm pretty sure they do weigh about the same amount, but Mark Ingram's a little smaller, so he looks bigger. Kamara's a big guy. He's not as small as he looks on field. But Tarik Cohen is, he's a shifty little guy. He's a Darren Sproles, but, he had maybe potentially could be better. He's really shifty, really fast. He's really good in the receiving game, but he does run the ball a good bit. But just based off what he does at his position, what he does for that offense, he's a big part of that offense. That's why I'm putting him as good, but he's not really, he's like probably the only guy on this list that's not like what you would consider a true running back that most teams would have, but he's definitely a good player. So that's my list. Let me know what you feel below. Agree, disagree, let me know. Try not to get too offended. It is just my opinion. We all are going to have differing opinions when it comes to sports. Not everybody is going to agree, and that is okay. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video.